Right from your school days, you people have been introduced to different kinds of numbers. Okay? The first introduction of numbers to you was in the form of natural numbers. And you also called these natural numbers as counting numbers. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So we say that the set of natural numbers is an infinite set. Okay. Now people defined various operations on the set of natural numbers. Okay. The two very basic operations are addition and multiplication. So there are certain rules for addition or for adding two numbers, and also there are some rules for multiplying two numbers, and we have various properties like distributive property where you combine the addition and the multiplication in a single process. Okay. Now we also have operations such as subtraction and division. Okay, which kind of nullify the effects of addition and multiplication respectively. But the problem is you can add 2 and 4, okay, and you can also multiply 2 by 4. The result will still be a natural number. However, if you subtract 4 from 2 or if you divide 2 by 4, the result is not a natural number. Okay, so if you were a person who only is aware of the set of natural numbers, then you will say 2 by 4 is not defined or 2 minus 4 is not defined, and at the same time you will say 2 by 4 is also not defined. Okay, but we extend our notion of numbers from natural numbers to integers and to rational numbers, so that we have solutions to the equations of the kind x plus 1, or let me say x plus 5 equal to 3. So we say that x is 3 minus 5 or minus 2. Okay, and also to the set of rational numbers. So we say that if I have a number which says 2 into x is equal to 1, so I will say that x is equal to 1 upon 2. So that is how the integers and the rational numbers have been defined. Now if you go to quadratic equations and consider the equations x squared equal to 4 and x squared equal to 3, both are quadratic equations with no x term, but you know that x squared equal to 4 has integral solutions, but that is not going to happen with x squared equal to 3. Okay, so there is no rational number x for which x squared is 3. So now you have to define a new class of numbers so that you can solve such quadratic equations, and that new class of numbers is called as irrational numbers. Okay, so irrational numbers are those numbers which can be displayed on a real number line, or you can associate a point with an irrational number, but they cannot be expressed as p by q where both p and q are integers. Okay, the set of integers is usually denoted by z. Examples of irrational numbers are root 2, root 3, then cube root of 4, and so on. And also we have irrational numbers of the kind e and pi. So these irrational numbers are actually known as transcendental numbers. But as of now, let us call them irrational. Okay. Then we talk about equations of the following kind: x squared equal to minus 4, or x squared equal to minus 3. Now when we defined the operation of multiplication on integers, we said that negative into negative is positive. So at this stage we do not have any solutions to such equations. Okay, so we'll say that solutions do not exist in the set of real numbers. Okay, and this is the key idea behind complex numbers. Okay, so it is an extension of the real number system such that you can solve quadratic equations of that kind where the discriminant is negative. Okay, so now we define the complex numbers. Currently just now we talked about the need. Okay, see, now this need topic, this can be talked about regarding or in the context of integers. So why do we need basically integers? We need integers because there is no solution in the set of natural numbers for the equation x plus 5 equal to 3. So we felt the need of integers. Yes. Then what's the need of rational numbers? There is no integer for which 2 into x is equal to 1. So we felt the need of defining rational numbers. Same thing with irrational numbers. What's the need? What's the need for defining irrational numbers? There is no rational number whose square is equal to 3. So you define irrational numbers, and in the similar lines, or on the similar lines, we can talk about the need of defining complex numbers. Okay, and that need is as follows. If we have a quadratic equation whose discriminant is negative, okay, in this case x squared plus 4 equal to 0, so the discriminant delta will be b squared minus 4ac or minus 16. Okay, so because the discriminant is negative, the roots are not real, and hence we say that the roots are complex. Okay, so that is basically the need. Inadequacy of the previous number systems to solve equation or any given equation. Okay, so we will now define the square root of minus 1. Okay, so square root of minus 1 is a number which is usually denoted by Greek alphabet, lowercase alphabet, which resembles the Roman I but is different. So just like alpha and A are different, alpha is in Greek script, A is in the Roman script. Okay, so this is the actual pronunciation of this I is iota. Okay, but the convention, or usually we don't pronounce it iota, we just say I. Okay, so by the very definition, if root of minus 1 is I, then I squared must be minus 1. So this is the first introduction to complex numbers. We have a square of a number which is negative. Okay, and this is how we extend our idea of numbers from real numbers to complex numbers. Okay, we now consider a polynomial equation. Okay, let us consider a polynomial equation of degree n. So we'll talk about an x raised to n plus a subscript n minus 1 x raised to n minus 1, so on, a2x squared plus a1 x raised to 1 or x plus a naught x raised to 0, or just simply a naught equal to 0. Okay, now if we consider the coefficients a subscript j, where j lies between 0 and n is a whole number. Okay, so according to the fundamental theorem of algebra, any polynomial equation of degree n with complex coefficients always possesses solutions in the set of complex numbers. Okay, now this is the theorem which I would say is important, and the significance of this theorem is as follows. If you take a quadratic equation, which is essentially a polynomial equation of degree 2, and if you try to solve it in the domain of real numbers, then you will say, okay, I cannot solve it because there is no real number whose square is negative. So this is basically the inadequacy to solve polynomial equations. Same thing applies to x plus 5 equal to 3 in the set of natural numbers, 2x equal to 1 in the set of integers, x squared equal to 3 in the set of rational numbers, and ultimately x squared equal to minus 4 or x squared equal to minus 3 in the set of real numbers. So these extensions to our number systems, these are being done to solve polynomial equations, or at least to talk about their to talk about the existence of their solutions. Correct? So we have now started from the set of natural numbers, then the set of whole numbers. So it is basically the set of natural numbers with 0 in it, then the set of integers, then the set of rational numbers q, then the set of real numbers, and finally the set of complex numbers. Okay, so if we consider the first 5 sets, and if we consider the polynomials in them, and if we try to solve them, we try to find the roots of those polynomials, then you may not have the roots in your respective number system. But that is not the thing with the set of complex numbers. If you have any polynomial equation with complex coefficients, okay, it will always have a root in the set of complex numbers. Okay, so this is the main reason to study complex numbers. Well, one of the main reasons. Complex numbers also have applications in electrical engineering. Okay, we had defined iota or root of minus 1 as I. So now we are in a position to actually define the complex numbers.